sweeties, how are you doing? Welcome to Naya Sim or Cimnanya. If this is your first time of coming across this channel, sweetheart, kindly smash that subscribe button, turn your notification so you are notified each time I upload, and please give this video a thumb up. I appreciate you all so much, and I am saying a very big shout out to every one of you for the love, the support you all shower me here with. I am grateful, and you all are super sweet. So today we'll be talking something very important, and it's about the nerves. People think everything is they can just come out, I mean, like with their bold confidence and all that, and say whatever they want to say without even thinking about it. She actually came, a pop-color woman actually came out to say that not everything is supposed to be inclusive, some are supposed to be exclusive, some people you do not have to get access to it, you're not supposed to have it, and all that. And coming from a palm-colored woman actually off me, like a lot of people are asking questions and calling her out on the bullshit, and the fact that she thinks like some things like like she legitimately said that if everybody can have access to one, that it's not gonna work. Like like what are you talking about? And she was actually talking about Victoria's Secret, and the fact that I mean, people think because they are punk color, like they can actually come out to say some certain things and do some certain things and get away from it and all that. But then their white supremacist is like kind of showing, and it's glaring, everybody can see it, and the rest of it. And some, one thing about there are some things that I see, I am like, no matter how dumb somebody is, you definitely will see somebody probably in the comment section sharing her up and all that. And then it is what it is. I think I'm gonna roll this clip. We'll come back to talk about it, and I absolutely want to read all your comments. Let me know what you all think in the comments section. So straight up, let's get into.
Okay, I'm gonna be the bitch and say it since nobody else will. It's okay for things to be exclusive. Like, not everything needs to be inclusive. For example, like, I feel like we're all seeing the Victoria's Secret fashion show. Like, that was never intended for everybody to be able to do. That is why they were called angels. They were out of this world. They were godly. They were angelic. Like, that was never meant to be obtainable. Same thing like the NFL. Like, not everybody's meant to play in the NFL. Same thing with Harvard. Like, not everybody's meant to get into Harvard. Like, the exclusivity is what makes it special. It's like what makes people like have drive, want to work hard for something. And the reality is that like for some people, no matter how hard you work, you might never actually be able to do that just because of your genetics, but that is okay. Like, I think we need to bring back some exclusivity. Like, I don't think we need to be so inclusive at all times for everything. Of course, there's a time and place for everything, but like, we're going too far. It's like, what is there to work for? Like, if everyone can just do everything, then like there's no want and desire anymore. Does that make sense? Like, am I the only one? I know I'm not the only one that thinks this. And some of you are gonna hate me for this video, but you know what? It just needs to be said. I'll never be a Victoria's Secret angel. I'm 5'6". But you know what? That's okay. And I can admire them, and I can admire all the hard work that they put into it. And you know what? Maybe I'll work really hard, and maybe I'll grow a little bit, and like that'll be the thing. But like, that's okay. I have other strengths, and I'm gonna use them where those are like best served. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna be the bitch and say it since nobody else will. It's okay for.
Welcome to another episode of It's Time to Gather You Silly Bitches Like a Ponytail. I'll just say the quiet part out loud that you hate fat bitches and you don't think that we should have the same access to the same yeast infection giving lace panties that you bitches wear. That's all you had to say. Because they're supposed to be goddesses. They're supposed to be angels. Who the fuck says that these imaginary ass entities couldn't be fat? Hello? For a brand to be exclusive, it has to have something that not everybody can get their hands on. Not 2 for $5 fucking panty at Pink. Go to hell. Victoria's Secret is not that girl. She's never been that girl. Which brings me to my next point. It is for everyone. Everyone can access it. It's not Louis V. It's not Gucci. It's not even Coach. The fuck? Victoria's Secret is one step up from being sold in the panty section at fucking Walmart. Get a grip. What's funny is that Victoria's Secret knows this. They know that fat women are going to buy their underwear regardless. They know that disabled women are going to buy their fucking underwear regardless. Said it once, I'll say it again. Diversity is only a problem to motherfuckers that don't know how to think for themselves. Because what about the restructuring of this show is excluding thin women? There are still thin women on the runway. Am I correct? Spoiler alert, I fucking am. So what you're really saying is that you don't want to see fatties and people in wheelchairs or on crutches or with back rolls or whatever. You don't want to see the world around you on the stage because you want to feel superior to the people around you because you have an inferiority complex that you should do what with? Say it with me. Unpack with your therapist instead of projecting on the internet. Correct. So proud of you. At the end of the fucking day, Victoria's Secret realized that they are a business and their business is to make money. And they're not making money by excluding a very large demographic of their customers. Audacity to roll out of bed with your hair this close to becoming starter mats and unblended blush to spew hate toward people who've done nothing to you. Rest, mayhaps. And while you do that, I'm going to go to the store and get a pack of spoons so you can eat my ass. No matter what you say, the new Victoria's Secret show is here to stay. Choke on it. Have a bad day.
It's okay for things to be exclusive.
Who's gonna tell her that Victoria's Secret and Lane Bryant's Cacique are made by the same company? Your favorite little exclusive brand is also made right alongside my 36K cup bras. Ooh! Victoria's Secret was never exclusive. There's nothing exclusive about an underwear store across the hall from a kiosk that sells knockoff Louis Vuitton phone cases. To mention every single man I have ever dated has bought my big, fat, BBW size 22 ass Victoria's Secret underwear, and I used to squeeze into that XL, and I would still throw that thing back. That's not exclusive, baby. Sexy does not have a size. Y'all can fight all you want, but you're not being erased. The fact that you think you're being erased is giving Charlottesville coded. Y'all being this bent out of shape over them carrying an XXL is just insane. Considering the XXL and the XL are the first sizes to go, you're making money hand over foot. Be mad.
Be the bitch and say it. Okay, I'm gonna be the bitch and say it since nobody else will. It's okay for things to be exclusive.
I just find it interesting that you, given your apparent privileges, are having a problem with this. And that's why I always ask y'all to interrogate y'all's privileges. Because for you to be this upset that marginalized bodies are getting representation, it just does not sit right with me. And I know I'm not the only one. Representation literally changes people's lives. How do I know that? I get messages on a regular basis with people saying that me being a representation for them has helped them significantly. So individuals who do not fit the traditional Victoria's Secret's body type are finally being able to see themselves in Victoria's Secret's attire, which has been deemed the symbol of attractiveness, sensuality. And so being able to look at one of these ads or see a model on the runway who looks like you allows you to feel like you can be sensual, that you can be attractive and considered desirable. We have to understand where exclusivity stems from, specifically the systems that it stems from, and the systems that people like you benefit from and people like me don't. Let's take myself, for example, okay? Though I consider myself a non-binary individual, I still present as and live the experience of a cis woman. I will never be upset that a trans woman is being highlighted and celebrated. So I'm just asking you to interrogate where your need for exclusivity comes from.
Since nobody else will. It's okay for things to be exclusive. Like, not...
Moving beyond the irony of somebody that looks like her saying a statement like this, given the just pure fact that she will likely never be excluded from anything throughout the entirety of her life simply because of the way she presents. At most, maybe she's excluded in that conversation that people like to have about blondes and brunettes and how blondes are better or whatever the fuck. But moving beyond that, let's get to the fucking real issue here. And that issue is that y'all are still supporting Victoria's Secret knowing what this man did. In May 1997, Alicia Arden, a model in California, was introduced to a man who identified himself as a talent scout for Victoria's Secret. He invited her to his Santa Monica hotel room to audition for the brand's catalog. When she arrived, Ms. Arden said the man grabbed her, tried to undress her, and said he wanted to manhandle her. Ms. Arden, then 27, fled in tears. In the mid-1990s, two senior executives had discovered that the same man, a close advisor to the company's chief executive, Leslie H. Wexner, was trying to pitch himself as a recruiter for Victoria's Secret models. Mr. Wexner authorized him to borrow Mr. Epstein, if we're confused as to who this is, to borrow money on his behalf to sign his tax returns, to hire people, and make acquisitions. We are talking that Jeffrey motherfucking Epstein, all right? The dude who had the island that we all know about, was directly tied to the man who acquired Victoria's Secrets in 1982 and went so far as to help supply him women. All of this allegedly, of course, because Wexner will never admit to any of this occurring. And cutting ties, as you can see up here. Through his proximity to Wexner, Mr. Epstein gained unique access to young women. In the summer of 1996, Maria Farmer was working on an art project for Mr. Epstein in Mr. Wexner's Ohio mansion. While she was there, Mr. Epstein, according to an affidavit Ms. Farmer filed earlier this year in federal court in Manhattan, she said that she fled the room and called the police, but that Mr. Wexner's security staff refused to let her leave for 12 hours. That was around the time that executives at L-Brand learned that Mr. Epstein was trying to involve himself in the recruitment of lingerie models for the Victoria's Secret catalog, a coveted assignment for young models and aspiring actresses. That was troubling. Victoria's Secret's source models from talent agencies, not individuals, according to the two former executives who spoke on the condition of anonymity, because they signed non-disclosure agreements after leaving the... Y'all are having bullshit-ass conversations about inclusivity when it comes to fucking lingerie, literally things that everybody has to wear. But don't mind putting money into the pockets of men who were literally profiting off of sending children and women to Epstein and other folks. So y'all cross the line at inclusivity, but don't cross the line at Pe0ple. Y'all still want to give money to a corporation that was acquired in 1982? And also, let's get to the real of this. The only reason why Victoria's Secret ever became inclusive was because people started flocking to Fenty. Because again, you guys don't want inclusivity, so nobody's gonna fucking try to make y'all. But Fenty was making the fucking racks off that shit because they chose to be inclusive. So what did Victoria's Secret do? They were forced to follow the route that other companies had taken because other companies chose to be inclusive. You guys are busy running your mouths and getting upset about inclusivity in Victoria's Secret shows when the only reason why inclusivity is even existing in Victoria's Secret shows is because it makes them more money. You guys are fighting over something that people weren't even trying to fight them over anymore because it was a lost cause. I'm sorry that all of you that look the exact same and have the exact same body types aren't bringing in the fucking dough anymore. What do y'all want? Maybe if y'all were a little bit more interesting and a little bit more unique, that would have been enough to keep bringing money in, but it wasn't. So I think it's very weird that y'all get on here and talk about how things don't need to be inclusive when the only reason why these corporations are even making it inclusive is because it makes them more money. So if y'all really got beef and y'all really got qualms with inclusivity, go fight these CEOs. Tell them that they need to stop worrying about their dollar and worry about the fact that people that look like you should be the only people that you feel should be showcased. Cause what the fuck?
It's okay for things to be exclusive. Like, not everything needs to be inclusive.
Girl, preach. Can we also talk about participation trophies? Like, don't get me wrong, I know everybody wants their kid to feel included. But like when I was a kid, and I mean, I'm not even that old, I'm only 28. When I was a kid, there weren't any participation trophies. And there were plenty of things, while I'm fairly athletic, there were plenty of things that I didn't make it on the team for, didn't make the cut. And that made me realize one of two things. I'm too short for the sport, I'm not good enough for the sport, or it made me really buckle down and be like, I want to make it on this team and then work hard and then you eventually make it on the team. That was me with high school volleyball. Meanwhile, high school basketball, I never made the team. They called me the Bosnian brick. I'm not even joking. That's not made up. But the fact that I worked so hard to make the volleyball team, whether or not I won a trophy or whatever, that was what made it so special. That made me feel like I earned my spot. There's a time and place for inclusivity, but you learn a very important lesson in life by hustling and grinding to earn your spot.
I'm gonna be the bitch and say it since nobody else will. It's okay for things to be exclusive.
It's because we've been coddled. We've been spoon-fed. We're entitled. Okay? The minute we started giving out participation awards in sports leagues for kids is the same minute exclusivity died. We started telling everybody that they were special when they weren't. They were special just for doing something and not for being good at it. I mean, bro, I even remember in school, dog, we used to get grades, the hundreds, for turning work in. Not even for getting the answers right. And that's honestly our parents' fault. That's the generation ahead of us' fault because they didn't even want to grade the papers, okay? They didn't even want to, actually put in the effort to train and give these kids proper practices to be good in sport. They didn't want none of that. Bro, even video games. When we started putting easy mode in video games, you started telling people that they could win a game without having to try, without being good at it. I'll hit you with another one. Why are children graduating from preschool or kindergarten or wherever they have them like tiny little baby graduations. Why are you telling this kid he just accomplished something major by getting older? What? I mean, you got school production plays, you know, that you don't have to audition for. You just show up and you win the play. You got, you know, sports in high schools and middle schools where you just show up. You don't have to try it out. You don't have to try. You're just on the team. And they have to give you play time or else somebody's going to complain about it. Like, what? We started telling people that they were important and special for doing nothing. So now when people see people doing something amazing that you have to try for, they don't like that. So now they feel like they have to be involved because that's how they were brought up. They don't remember having to be good at anything. So they never thought that they have to be good at anything. So they feel like they should just get it. That's what happened. That's what happened. I'm just saying. And there's nothing that we can do now other than making harder again, putting tryouts back. Participation awards gotta go. Why are we giving an award for taking part in something? You didn't do anything, bro. Makes me sick. It makes me sick. And I know some people will be like, oh, when you have kids, it'll be different. I really genuinely don't think it will be because I hate it. I don't like it. I don't want my kid walking around thinking he's hot and he's not. I don't want that.
It's okay for things to be exclusive. Like, not everything needs to be inclusive.
You know what I find ironic? That I just, like, of course a white girl would say this shit. Of course a white girl would say this shit. Like, y'all baffle me all the time. Also, like, it makes sense because, like, white people, y'all love to exclude everybody, right? But, like, if you're really that upset about big girls being able to fit into Victoria's Secret and be there now, like, you're just mad because you can go. That's what it's giving. It's mad that, it's giving that. You're mad that these big girls can go, but you can't. Because they made it and you didn't. And that's not their problem, right? So, it sounds like keep your racism and your segregation to yourself, white lady. Cool? Cool.
To bitch and say it since nobody else will. It's okay for things to be exclusive. Like,
she basically went on to say that Victoria's Secret had a fashion show where they had inclusivity in the fashion show. And my thing is, even with your privilege, even if you can't attain being an angel, like you said, why are you still mad? Like, honestly, if it don't matter, why are you still mad? Huh? And if we want to keep it all the way funky, if we want to keep it all the way exclusive, let black people take everything back and see how mad you really get of the exclusivity if we really started to be exclusive with our stuff. But you know what? Let me put you on game. Let me give you a book to read, okay? It's by Mickey Kendall. It's called Hood Feminism. I think you'll really enjoy it, okay? Take a gander.
Like, not everything needs to be inclusive.
It's so weird to me. It's so fucking weird to me when people will, like, act like, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it, love. I'm gonna say the whole thing that needs to be said, love. You know, we don't need to be inclusive. What do you think is revolutionary about that? Like, what do you think? Like, do you think that hasn't been said yet? Like, literally, the push for inclusivity is to acknowledge that the human experience and what our human bodies look like, and the types of products and clothing that is useful and helpful for human beings exist across a wide ass variety of body shapes, sizes, colors, etc. So, like, literally viewing fashion or bodies or even something like Victoria's Secret, which is fucking common, it's in every mall in America, as like exclusive is defaulting to the norm. It's like very white supremacist, right? Like, it's you know what I mean? So you're not saying anything new, you're not saying anything exciting, you're just like being mean, I guess, because you want to. Like you're just being discriminatory for fun. Like, you did, I promise you didn't invent fat phobia. Like, it didn't, you know what I mean? Like, also, like, this idea that like Victoria's Secret angels are like just like fantasy is so laughable to me, because those are like real life human women, excuse me, who when they come into work as like Victoria's Secret angels, they have to like manipulate and transform their body. They're putting on an act, right? So it's not that like them being the individual that's hired to be a Victoria's Secret angel is what makes the magic, because like them as an individual is like so magical. I promise, and I'm so sorry if you haven't learned this yet, like humanity in and of itself is like magical. Like we're all kind of magical, right? So the magic doesn't come from like these like emaciated looking at times people who were like very thin and like that being like perpetuated as like, oh, so beautiful. It's like all the things they layer on top of it, right? Like the mental space they get into, like the characterization that they embody, how they move their body, the yada yada yada, literally the lights, the music, the style, like the performances, everything else that's going on around. In just the same way as that actor has all these layers piled on, that model has all these layers piled up on top of it that make it magical. It can be literally the exact same thing for someone who is plus size, literally the exact same thing for someone who is trans, literally the exact same thing for someone who has visual disabilities. And by that, I mean like disabilities that you may be able to perceive to some degree from like looking at them, right? So like, again, like it just feels so silly. I'm gonna stop the video here because I don't like, I'm like literally far from like someone who's like an expert on this. There's so many fat positive, body neutral creators on this app who are doing amazing work to like challenge the inherent like violence and stupidity and making it seem cool to down other people for not having the body as someone else. It's violent, it's weird, and it's not cute. Ew.
It's okay for things to be exclusive. Like,
well, why don't we look at this differently? I sure wish that white people would get on the same page. You know, Edward Bloom, he's the founder of the American Alliance for Equal Rights. He has successfully stopped the Fearless Fund from being able to give its awards, its grants, to Black women entrepreneurs. Someone please tell America First Legal that it is okay for Progressive, a private business, to give grants to Black-owned business. Will someone please tell America First Legal that Progressive is only doing what it wants to do to support its own bottom line? When will you all get on the same page? Or is it only okay for things to be exclusive when you are the focal point? I mean, it's just so pathetic at this point. It's really pathetic.
they were out of this world. They were godly. They were angelic.
No, because we heard you. Angels and angelic beings are skinny white women who are going to pout and stomp out if anybody else is invited to the party. I would totally toss you a participation trophy for this hot, gatekeep, girl boss, fatphobic, transphobic, ableist, white supremacist, patriarchal take. But where would the discernment and the recognition of true excellence be in that? I mean, somebody had to say it. Wouldn't you agree?
It's okay for things to be exclusive. Like, not everything needs to be inclusive.
Y'all will say this, but then get mad at Black people for not wanting you people to engage in their culture, such as box braids. Every 2 weeks, there's a discussion on box braids, on why white people should be able to wear them. Please.
So this is all I got from the stitches, and while I was like, watching this, I was like, I was thinking about angelic. I mean, they were meant to be, like you said, they were meant to be angelic. And does angelic automatically means like, white and thin and all that. And it's really amazing how she actually came out here boldly. I don't know if she was actually coming to make fun of, make this sound funny or something. I wasn't sure. And also comparing to the NFL, or Harvard is crazy because you need a specific skill to set, as like, to set or to join those organizations. Maybe out of touch, but modeling is just working and all that. And like every other person like spoke on this were like, yeah, because your color always gets you everything you want. And because whether you are fit to be here and all that, because you are a pop color person, automatically you are, in for it and all that. Most of the trophies they get were not even supposed to be theirs. Like, you know, they get it because, like, you know, they are pump colored. And every other person got to really work so hard to fit in or to be, like, you know, part of the whole thing that it's going on. But because they are pump colored people, you know, everything falls in place for them. Coming out here as even a pump colored person to speak on this or already, like, you know, tells us who she is and the rest of it. A lot of people actually were not finding it funny. I mean, people thought that was, like, you know, crazy thing to come out to say. And the fact that she sound, like, you know, she sounds so confident, like, you know, she was so confident coming out to say all this is absolutely wild. And then she said, yeah, I am gonna say it. If nobody's she might be cancelled for saying it, and she absolutely got cancelled. I think the reality is that she needs to unpack all this, like all this. I mean, she needs to see a therapist and not just come here on the internet to disturb us and all of that. This is just all I got to say on this. And yeah, let me know what you all think and see you all in my next video. Bye for now.